Good Monday evening. Welcome to BCP Live. It is a presentation of the Bryan County Patriot. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad that you are with me tonight. And it's been a lot of fun over the last 6 weeks. I'll tell you what, it's been something to absolutely keep me going through this time. I don't sit still in the house very well. So it is what it is. But I'm thankful for this outlet as we are now into the 7th week of BCP Live. Man, that's really something. And there were people who said it wouldn't last that long, but that was just my wife. So anyway, Mrs. Patriot, I'm just kidding. She's cheering on from another part of the house. Speaking of family, well, we are absolutely blessed to get to have somebody who shares my last name on the broadcast tonight. That's right. If you're looking at the little names down on the bottom of the screen, that is not a typo. The gentleman next to me with the same hairstyle that I have is my brother, Matthew McWilliams. Now, I will probably call him Foo on the air just because I'm used to calling him Foo for the last, 30 years?
Long time. Nickname's not hard,
Something like that. Hey, Brian, thank you. All right, let me address this really quickly then, Matthew. Brian says the background looks a lot better. Good lighting. Let me tell you, between Saturday and today, I made a lot of adjustments. The lighting was actually not one of them, okay? I did get the monitor taken care of over here. The battery just ran out. I do have new earphones in right now, and there's some better earphones on the way, and so that's cool. And I'm using a better camera now. I was fussing about this with my wife Saturday night, Mrs. Patriot, and I said, I went outside, I worked around, got probably my best camera for all of the broadcasts that I do. This is generally the one that I do Midwest Sports Saturday with and a lot of the sports broadcasts. I set it up at the studio, put it all together. I'd had a problem earlier. I thought, I'm going to try this again. I have a better camera tonight. It's the best camera, actually, of all of my equipment. And lo and behold, it looks better than what I was using earlier. Go figure, Matthew.
Looking good.
All right. Well, hey, listen, just to give you a little bit of background about Matthew really quickly, and we have him for the entire evening. I think, is that right? 10, 11, midnight. You're good to go, right?
Yeah, the wife's going to beat me if I come in that late, but yeah, we're good. At least I'll have evidence that,
That's true. That is true. There's no doubt of where you will have been throughout this entire time. Well, really quickly, if you don't know Matthew, if you don't know Foo, if you know Foo, then definitely you know Matthew. Matthew is my brother. He has definitely, and I bring him on not only because of what he brings to the table from the computer side of things, also, even though he currently lives in Broken Arrow, he is in the state of Oklahoma, number one. He also is a longtime Durant resident, number two. He has a degree from Southeastern Oklahoma State University. And so Matthew understands Durant. He's lived in, worked in, been a part of Durant in Bryan County for a number of years. And so it's not like I'm bringing in some big guy computer, website guy from the big city, even though that's what he is. It's somebody. He is somebody that definitely has a feel for Durant. So how are you doing, Foo?
Doing great. It's definitely been crazy, and I think everyone can say that. But all in all, we're blessed. We've been busy. Family's doing good. Life's been good. Learning how to homeschool. That's something I wasn't really planning on doing in April, but it's really try to even look at that as a blessing. As hey, this is time I get to hang out with my kids. And even though we're juggling it and it's not always pretty, but it's been good. I try to again look on the bright side. So we're doing well.
Well, that much is certain. We do need to always be looking at the bright side. Well, you're on the right broadcast to do that.
Yes.
Because we definitely try to hit the high points and get the positive here at Bryan County Patriot. And I know that you've looked in on a few broadcasts as well, so you know what the drill is tonight. We'll get to visit for a while, and it may stick around for a little while longer, even after our time together is done. I will give you a little bit of inside baseball real quickly and pull the curtain back just a bit, and to let you know, I always want to make good use of the guest's time. And so if we've been on for a while, we've talked for a while, I definitely want to give them an opportunity to go be with their family and things along those lines. But there's a second reason, too, because when I get into some of the commentary side of what goes on, I might say something that the guest may not agree with. And so
It's gonna be a debate.
humor. Do what?
It's gonna be a debate.
That's gonna be, yeah. I don't want. Here's the deal. I don't want them to be associated with something that I've said, and being on the other side of the the monitor there, and them have to go, well, yeah, your face was up. My face was up there when you said so and so. I don't want them to have to be associated with that particular statement. The flip side of that, however, is you're associated with me no matter what.
True.
So, if you do stick around a little bit later tonight, and I did see that Mrs. Lindsay McWilliams joined the broadcast. So she's keeping an eye on you, man. She knows where you are in case you do run a little bit long. All right. Well, listen, Fu, let's get right into this really quickly. I know that you work with small businesses, big businesses, mid-sized businesses. Talk about what you do really quickly. You work with web design and getting people set up with websites as well. What's some advice that you would give to the small businesses here in Durant and Bryan County during this time right now?
Yeah, so little background. Me and my wife run a company, McWilliams Media, up here in Broken Arrow. Actually, we started out doing web design, and it really, evolved to web design and online marketing. So there's a marketing side, which was a perfect fit for me. My degrees in business administration. They're from Southeastern. So I loved working with small business, really found our niche in small local businesses, and being able to help them connect, develop their online presence, and grow. And that's one of our big things is we want to see growth. And over the years, we've really seen that with so many clients. It's been a blessing, but also that's always our goal to see that growth. So, just one of the things we've been talking to a lot of people is just having a real clear message. Just a lot of our clients, they have, we deal with dentists, we deal with chiropractors, we deal with lawyers. They have patients, they have clients, they have customers, and no one really knows what's going on, who's open, who's closed, what the specifications are. So really having clear messaging in this time is critical, and you can do that via social, you can do that via your website, but keeping people informed and staying top of mind is really important, because somebody's trying to steal their attention right now with all the news and everything going on. So just letting them know, hey, we're here. We may be closed, we may be opening soon, whatever your course looks like, but just keeping them aware. And then the other thing too is letting them know if you've made modifications or changes. And as we're moving into, again, potentially reopening most of the state, what are you doing different? What precautions are you taking? How are you setting yourself up to really have your customer, your client's best interest in mind? Because there's some people, hey, they're ready to Katie bar the door, run out into the streets. They've been locked up long enough. There's still a lot of people that just aren't real sure, that just aren't confident. And so the more that you can be assuring that you're taking, steps to, take care of them, help them out, help them feel comfortable, hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. Again, that's going to speak volumes for you and your business.
Hand sanitizer. Right
there
here.
We go.
I'm good to go even during the broadcast. We're social distancing really well. If I feel like you're getting too close, man, I've got my hand sanitizer right there. So I am totally
busted out. There we go.
Well, listen, and by the way, shout out to everybody watching tonight. I've seen a lot of folks that are checking in. I really appreciate everyone. You get the shout out to Dad and Uncle Fu, and also the shout out there to husband and brother-in-law. So some family checking in tonight too.
Yeah.
Glad you were able to make it getting out of your fire department meeting as well. Hey, listen, I'm talking now with Matthew McWilliams, also known as Fu, and we're talking about small businesses and some of the things that you can do to keep your small business going or your mid-sized business. I mean, this really is for all sizes. That's
absolutely
correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're not limiting that, but we've talked about
this. We're not working with Fortune 500 companies or anything, 500 plus that didn't get PPP, but yeah, small to medium. Anybody in our audience is probably going to be in good shape.
Okay, and someday, I don't doubt that at all. No problems there. Well, okay. But again, we've talked about this here on the broadcast on BCP Live, talking about being wise and not walking in fear. We don't want any business to shut down, not a single business in Bryan County to shut down and not be able to reopen again when we get to the other side of this thing. What are some of the tools that small and mid-sized businesses can use then?
I think it's amazing, just the point that we're at, and this probably sped up a lot of the I would say reliance or ability to use digital tools to stay in front of people, to connect with them, and the people that are being innovative, being creative in this time are the people that are really coming out in front. I would say, obviously, social media has just been. Well, people are sitting on their couch. What else is, you can only watch the news so long. So social media has been a great tool for our clients. Again, the viewership's up on posts. We're seeing our posts getting, increased viewership, increased engagement in this season. And so again, if you can leverage that, do what you do. Let people know you're there. Let people, small business owner or not, whatever you're doing in life, hey, let people know you're there. They want to hear, kind of what's going on. And a couple other great ways, email lists, text lists are great ways. And I've been telling people for years, where's your email list and stuff. And a lot of people did blow me off, but now I'm like, hey, great to send out to email lists when you're reopening, when you're coming back online. And then again, the website's always a great way to communicate with people. And again, just we've added a lot of those annoying pop-ups. Yeah, we've added those to websites to let people know when they get there, hey, here's our hours of operation, or here's we're closed, just to inform people, so they're not searching around the website wondering what's going on, just to make it as easy and quick as possible. So just a few ways digitally to connect in the season as we're social distancing, where you can again still be a part of people's lives and connect with where they're at.
You talked to me one time about putting pop-ups on my website, and I said wholeheartedly, no.
Yeah, that's.
But I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, but see, that was 7 or 8. That was how long ago?
That was a long time.
That was a long time ago. This is a different situation, and I completely understand that right now. Shout out to a lot of folks joining tonight. Rhonda, thanks for stopping by. Brian, if anybody else is using these earpieces besides me, I certainly don't know about it. I'm really, really hoping that I don't have to sanitize these too much. And a shout out to Robert and Jamie watching tonight. Appreciate that. Utilizing Facebook Marketplace as well.
Great.
So that is a good one. Obviously, we're on Facebook and YouTube right now. And by the way, I joke a lot about getting kicked off of YouTube when I say COVID-19 or coronavirus or something like that. My video actually did get taken off Saturday night. I'm trying to figure out what I said wrong then that I haven't said that was different than any other time I've talked about this. That one's a weird one. I haven't figured that one out. But we're still here on Facebook Live and still working through that. Speaking now with Matthew McWilliams about, not only the computer side of things, with the website and what you can do with that, but generally good ideas that can be used in business. And Phil, I was talking with somebody a little bit earlier today. I'm trying to get out a little bit and visit with people, not too much. Phone calls and texts as often as possible, but occasionally you stop by and knock on a door and be socially distant. By the way, when this opens back up, it doesn't mean we have to all become lunatics. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything we've worked for that we stop doing it. Some people didn't do it to begin with. Okay. I have been feeling my bubble being, encroached upon a couple times in Walmart. I really have. You're looking like, oh my goodness, that's not 6 feet. That's barely 6 inches. Please. No. And that was even before social distancing became, something, a part of the vocabulary. But, you're talking about these things, Matthew, and I was talking with someone this earlier that what we come back to going to be different than what we left. And it really will. And I've said numerous times, I'm not a fan of the phrase new normal, but
yeah,
coming back to something a little bit different. What are the things, something that you see different maybe in the next 6 or 12 or, even 18 months?
I think you really can't ignore that some of the psyche is going to change, some of the mentality is going to change. And it's human nature, when, something you go through something like this. I mean, you think back to 9/11, the 08 crash, and how, the economy changed, different things like that, where it's, and this is, I think it's on a bigger scale because it's affecting everyone, not just New York and Washington. I mean, everyone's been affected. So the mentality with this is going to be a little bit different. And so I think there's, a lot of ways to, again, be proactive, be innovative, in the thought process. And I think I just love the aspect of, creativity and innovation just in general. And so again, looking on the bright side of things, looking on the, good side, how can we be innovative? How can we do things a little bit different, but, also be able to connect with people, be able to be a part of their lives, be able to be in front of them. And I'm a little done with Zoom, for a while. Oh my goodness. I was reading something that was like Zoom fatigue. I think that's a new term.
I haven't heard that one yet. That's it's amazing what has gone into our national vocabulary during this time.
Oh yes, so Zoom fatigue, but I will say there's some creativity there. How can you get in front of people, with the tools that you have, and I think the people even in small business that can be innovative. We were actually at a restaurant the other day, and it was one of the best, I thought, of as far as getting people in, getting them in position to get their to-go order and getting them out. They had actually put together a system, so it wasn't just so random of cars pulling up and trying to figure out how to social distance and it was very ironed out. And I think there's a lot of that where if you have some systems, if you have some ideas that you've set up in place to help facilitate your business, then absolutely carry that on into what you're doing. I do think that people will be a little bit more distant. So, doing things, sending a few more emails, doing things via social or text, is going to be a more accepted way to communicate. We've actually been using Zoom for years here. That's just kind of a part of our flow. We work with clients in Colorado and Georgia and California, and so that's just been a part of our flow. But now it's I've got somebody 2 miles away that I'm having to communicate. So yeah, that's been something that's been going over in my mind is how can we continue to be innovative, in the next 12 to 16 months, because this for some, this is a start of just a little bit of a different flow in life. So it'll be good though.
Well, and I learned about Zoom from you, and actually this was something that you mentioned last week. I had a website question, and you had said, well, listen, what if we tomorrow set up a Zoom meeting and I'll help you, get through this. It'll take about 10 minutes. And of course, now at this point I'm used to the opening to the Brady Bunch or bigger with Zoom meetings because there's so many people that go on there. But I remember that was the first time I had done a Zoom meeting was something like that you had said, okay, well, listen, you go to this site, click on here and join like that. And you talked me through the website question that I have. By the way, all of my websites are handled by and administered by McWilliams Media, which is in Broken Arrow. And I have 20.
I have a whole bunch.
I have a lot of sports websites. I think it's actually 20. When you count Mrs. Patriot and the new website she's putting together, and I know, by the way, and I think I told you Jenna's needing something. So it'll be 20 before it's all over with. But yeah, they're all administered by McWilliams Media and Broken Arrow. So I do appreciate that. But I learned about that from you. So anyway, really quickly, hey, listen, just from the chat really quickly, Bryan, I still am not a fan of the phrase. I know hopefully it will go back, or at least to some semblance of back. But Robert's digging the OSU mug. So, that's fine. I like it, and I needed it today. Really did need the ice water in there today. And Ronnie, I definitely miss the office, buddy. I'm ready to get back and get some tea and some coffee and be a blessing to Sean and the folks at Opera House. By the way, Fu, have you been to Opera House when it's down here? Sean.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sean Rawlings, who is pretty close to your age too, isn't he?
No, he's a little younger. Yeah,
right.
I worked at Solitas.
Well, yes,
many years ago. So I'm very familiar with the Rawling family. Yes,
well familiar with the Rawling family. Well, I hope that everyone keeps that in mind then. And to start to wrap up even this portion of the program, thank you again for being with me tonight, Matthew. I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm really very excited that you said yes. As I was thinking about inviting you, I was like, man, I hope he doesn't turn me down. And also for those who are looking at if you're comparing and contrasting right now, which is not hard to do, and you almost have to stop yourself from doing that. Obviously, the hairstyles are similar. Little facial hair for Matthew, and though he is a little bit closer to his camera, don't be fooled. His shoulders are much broader than mine. No doubt about that. I mean, he's a buff guy. Made it to state a couple times in weightlifting. So that is not objects in mirror are closer than they appear or whatever. I mean, that's the real deal. He really is. He's a buff guy. I agree with that, Matthew. And let me wrap up this portion. I want to give you the final word about that. I spoke with Jody, with Mrs. Bryan County Patriot, when this first got started, and we were talking about, listen, this is a time, I really think this is going to be one of those times where we have to take advantage of opportunities. You know, we need to think, what's God putting in front of us? How do we take advantage and listen to what God is putting in front of us and know that it's the right thing to do? But this is when sometimes, you know, you step in the right direction, you step up and you make something big happen. And so I completely agree with you on be creative, do something. Now, if there ever was a time to step outside the box and be creative, this definitely is it.
Absolutely. And speaking of, I think you're obviously what you're doing here with your live stream.
There we go.
It's being a voice. This is, and I'm a longtime listener, first time guest. I remember, when you started this, 6 weeks ago, where I was like, oh my goodness, this is a great idea. Just the opportunity, because everything was so negative. And what you've been saying, again, it's, we're dealing with a lot of stuff, but again, you've kept it in light of everything. I think, just, positive and moving forward, because we as people need some positivity and need to hear that. So again, I think, hats off to you. I mean, you're my brother, but hats off, because I think this has been a great innovation with what you're doing, going live, taking stuff that you already had for, your sports feed, and really innovating and, doing something that I think, again, that's a great service, because on the national level, we're hearing all kinds of stuff constantly. On the local level, I'm even confused, because we've got some different communities up here, and everything kind of, is this one, what's open over here and what's closed. And when everything was shutting down, it was mass confusion. My wife's vouching for me. No joke. He listens every night. So, if you're on, I'm checking it out. But no, that's a great innovation. And again, I think you do, in this time, again, taking advantage of what's presented and taking advantage of the opportunities that are out there. And that's what I'm trying to do every day, crisis or not. I want to find, where's the opportunity? Where is it for myself and my clients? Where can we, fit a niche or fit something that no one else is doing? And again, it be a point of growth. So that's just a great attitude to have all the time. But instead of, I dealt with a lot of our clients for really, the first few weeks, it's pretty bummed out. And so I was like, okay, we can be bummed out, and kind of be in that mode for a little while, but let's dust off our shirt and get back after it, get to thinking, how can we come out of this? And again, I'm excited, as people are back up, that we have plans in place and we're ready to go, to inform their, again, clients, patients, whatever, that, hey, we're here and we're taking precautions, doing what we need to do, but we need to keep the local economy. On a side note, it's I don't get it. Well, I get it, but with the stimulus package, they literally pump trillions of dollars into the economy, to people sitting on their couches, in front of their computers,
exactly,
ordering off of Amazon or going to the only places that were open: Walmart, Target, Costco. And so I'm really excited about reopening the Main Street has really suffered. And so it's these small businesses that need, whether you own business or not, they need our help. And with all that money that's now been injected in the local economy, it'd be a great time to go out and support. That's one thing we've really been promoting up here. But and knowing that people actually have that money, that there has been influx, as a small business owner, what can we offer, even if our doors aren't open? Are there are there ways that we can get in front of them in this season, that, maybe we didn't before? So, keep that stuff in mind, because again, it's kind of frustrating, because, the big business are getting richer while, all this money's out there. So good thing is again, as they come back online, hopefully again, we'll be able to capture some of that. So.
Well, I agree with that entirely. And, we've talked about it numerous times here, and it's been in the comment section numerous times as well. Shop local. And local for us is Bryan County. Local, I know for you, is the Broken Arrow area and part of that area up there. So anyway, yeah. Well, you've got two nieces that have been watching here too, Matthew. Just so you know, and we've already done the contrast and comparison thing there, Jen. So you're a little bit behind the curve on that one. We all know that Foo's he's a little tougher.
Hey,
that's all right.
Ronnie's wanting you to grow the beard.
Yeah, well, you know what, I've seen Ronnie can grow the beard really well. I'll just point that out. Ronnie recently shaved the beard because of COVID-19 concerns. His wife works in the health industry, and so Ronnie shaved the beard. I think he's just projecting right now. That's what it is.
For
Ronnie can grow the beard a whole lot better than I can. Let's just put it that way. This goatee is probably about as good as it gets. That's well, listen, I appreciate you coming on with me tonight, Foo. And if you don't mind, stick around just a little bit longer. I have a few just real quick numbers. We'll talk about a couple of things. Do you have just a little bit?
Absolutely.
Just a few minutes.
We've got one thing to tag on the end too before we.
Oh, I was hoping you would. Do you want to take that time right now, or you want to do that at the very end?
Yeah, we'll do it at the end.
All right, that's fine. Okay, really quickly then, I want to say thanks to sponsors and advertisers for the Bryan County Patriot. We could not do this without the advertisers and sponsors, and really, really thankful. We have, we continue to post obituaries for free as a community service. We couldn't do that without the advertisers and sponsors, and it is an advertisement-based business. And so I want to just say thank you to all of you all right now. Thank you to Abundant Life Texoma, to Blake Utter Ford, the Choctaw Nation, Durant Station, Greg Phillips Insurance, Indian Nation Wholesale, People First. Just had that article about People First, by the way, in the Bryan County Patriot as well. Shannon Walker in as the new director there. And that got a lot of good feedback as well. Shannon, thank you, and all the folks at People First for what you do. You have a fantastic organization. I really appreciate you. Steubenville Chevrolet, as well as Texoma Utility Equipment. You need to stop by each one of those places. That's a good way to shop locally, is to stop by each one of those places as well. I think that you will definitely appreciate that and appreciate each one of them very, very much so. I could use a filter. I probably could use one every now and again. That's much definite. The Bryan County Health Department is still testing curbside. Now, why is this important? Well, we talk about this each and every night here. 580-924-4285. Say it with me now. 580-924-4285. If you're concerned about getting tested, the tests are available. But Joey, I haven't been showing signs. I haven't been showing symptoms. If I don't show signs and symptoms, they're not going to test me. Well, the CDC has your back today because they've announced new symptoms. That's right. You can show new symptoms. This virus is really impressive because just when you thought that it had done all it could do, no, it shows up in different ways and new ways. So now if you show new symptoms, you should be able to be tested, and the folks at the health department should know that. By the way, those new symptoms include chills, repeated shaking with chills, just as if chills wasn't bad enough by itself, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and loss of taste or smell. Are you experiencing any of those, Foo?
Now, I thought sore throat was already in there. Did they double up on that one?
They may have doubled up on that, or maybe the virus has doubled down. You don't know. This virus is not to be trifled with. Okay, just saying.
No symptoms. We actually did have our 1-year-old son had to get tubes in his ears today. So over the weekend, he got the little swab thing. They stuck it in his nose and tickled his brain, I think.
Things go like way up.
He wasn't too pleased. So we were happy to get out of there and get him on to better things. But yeah, so I think we're all good. He was good. So I'm feeling like the rest of the family's good.
I hope so. Hey, Brooke.
Swabbers on everything. So he'd be the one to,
he'd be the one to spread it. If there was anyone spreading it, it would be him.
The 1-year-old. Yeah.
That's that is definitely. No, the others aren't slobbering on everything. How old are all your children now?
6 and 8. So I'm hoping if they're slobbering on things, we have problems.
It happens. Sometimes it happens. Kids just they not only say the darndest things, but sometimes they do the darndest things, and generally when you're in public. So that's parenthood. Right there. Blood drive. Let's see. The most recent blood drive was yesterday at the Calera First Baptist Church. By the way, Pastor Taves just recently celebrated a birthday, and I saw on Facebook he's extended the opportunity for you to say happy birthday to him. So if you didn't get it in within his actual birthday 24 hours, he's extended that for you. So go ahead and give a shout out to Jacob Taves,
happy birthday,
First Baptist Church in Calera. All right. These numbers are still the same today, so they haven't changed in Bryan County. So let me throw this out here. Let's see where my 6 cases have been reported in Bryan County. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give a caveat right here. I just want to stop for a moment. I want to go on record April 27th as having said this. I think that number is going to change. I hope it doesn't, but I think that the number may change. And when it does, I want you to remember that we thought about this right now. So I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. 6 cases reported in Bryan County, 4 in Durant, 2 in Meade. Of those 4 in Durant, 2 people have recovered. Of the 2 in Durant, 1 has recovered, 1 person has died. Oklahoma is now 34th in the country and behind the District of Columbia, also in confirmed cases, 27th in number of deaths at 197. The U.S. has now passed 987,000 confirmed cases. And just in case you weren't paying attention to the news, because that is out there a lot right now. We're headed for 1 million cases. We're closing in on 1 million cases in the United States. Just so you know, that 1 million cases is right around the corner. They've been saying this for 3 days. We're still at 987,000 as of the last hour. But there's a milestone, and it's something to look forward to. And once again, it is the national media. It's the MO. Fear. There are 1 million cases. And it's almost as if you don't have this, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have this? 1 million other people do. So anyway, what I want to point out today is that more than 100,000 have recovered.
Hey.
As a matter of fact, that number is now at 106,000. That's from Johns Hopkins University reporting that. That is as of April 27th today. So that is out there. More than 56,000 collection test kits are in the state of Oklahoma. So if you need to test, and I didn't check the Bryan County numbers today, it was at 200. What do we say, Brian? I think 210 on Saturday. I don't think 210 people have gone to even try yet. I really don't. We had an open day down here, Matthew, about 3 weeks ago where there were 100 tests available. All you have to do is show up and show signs. Only 44 people even showed up, and 35 of them got tested. By the way, all 35 came back negative.
Awesome. And I've been watching your show, so I was privy to that information. Yes,
it's all right. It's okay. Also talking about long-time listener, first-time guest. There we go. We have a lot of running gags, by the way, in our household. So if any of them slip out over the air, sorry. We'll try to get that. All right, Brian, 210. That was the number. Okay, good. And I'm sure you know this. Brian, just a real quick shout out to I have been watching the video today. I don't want to go into it all the way today. Just one thing I'll say about that. I'll go into it a little bit more tomorrow. I've had a lot of sports stuff going on today, and it's taken a lot of my time, and I wanted to give this good. I do want to mention one thing from the very beginning. I got a lot out of that, something I've said. We'll talk about that near the end. All right. Death certificates. This is something, again, that is interesting because when we talk about the fatality rate, and we've gone over this ratio thing. And I don't know if, Matthew, you may have seen the charts. How the whole family knows we're not on lockdown. The charts. Here's ratio. Your numerator and your denominator. It's your basic fraction. And as the denominator gets bigger, the fraction gets smaller. Obviously, as the numerator gets smaller, the fraction gets smaller. I submit to you that the denominator is not big enough and the numerator is way too large. When you're just adding 37,000 or 3,700 deaths in one day in New York City just because a lot of people died and we didn't take the time to test them all because we're too busy right now, they're all COVID-19. Then you have what I like to call a made-up number. Not an imaginary number because that's a real thing in math. I'm talking about a made up number. So anyway, the way that they get this is because somebody had to, on a death certificate, somebody had to write in on one of those 3 or 4 lines at the top where we're talking about underlying cause of death, that UCOD. Somebody had to write in COVID-19 or possible COVID-19, likely COVID-19. Because as we've said here, if you write down probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, it won't be investigated. If you write down pending, it will be investigated because they'll check to see if the test came in. You ever thought about that, by the way? This is, and again, this is the time where we think about these things. We're deep thoughts right here on BCP Live. Okay.
I have not thought about those things.
Okay. Think about this then for just a moment. How many other things would somebody filling out a death certificate actually just write down probable on? Will they write down, cause of death, probable car accident?
True.
I don't know. They were in a car accident, but they did have COVID-19 at the time. We're not sure. We didn't test, but we think somebody coughed right before. I don't know. Would they have said that? Would they say it about anything else? Here's let's get it closer to home. That one was ridiculous. Nobody's going to do that. But let's even viruses. Nobody put down probable SARS. At least they did. They didn't make a big deal of it a few years back. When we had SARS, and this, and I'm taking this logically because things that people have said would turn into something big. They didn't. Probable SARS. We didn't see that. Didn't hear about that. The CDC didn't say write down SARS if you think it is. How about this? Let me take it a step further. An epidemic or quote unquote epidemic even before that. We talk about AIDS. When AIDS was a big scare, and it's a bad thing. It can be a deadly disease, HIV. Nobody writes down on the death certificate probable AIDS. You ever thought about that? No, you already said you didn't think about that. Probable AIDS. Do you know if somebody got a hold of a death certificate of a loved one and the person just wrote down probable AIDS and they didn't have AIDS, they would go ballistic. The ACLU would have a field day and go off the chart if you accuse somebody for having HIV. Just probably. I don't know if they did or not. Just probable. Could be. I don't know. Just thinking. See, this is why I let the other guy off the hook when I go off.
Well, I'm with you.
You're thinking about
it. Yeah. So I think whenever, again, when you start promoting, financial aspects of, and I'm all for the healthcare workers, everybody, in the front lines doing their thing. Don't take me wrong. I'm all about it. I know this series, but I think whenever you add financial gain to help supplement, the heart of it's to help, benefit the hospitals and the people that are dealing with this. But there's a lot of room for that to be taken advantage of. And, everything, it's so tough. And I get it because it's a tough position. We want to benefit with the PPP. We want to benefit with the hospitals. We want to benefit, with stimulus, but all these different things can be twisted and do, because there's a lot of people out there that don't, do things the way they should. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for things to not be, and again, it helps certain narratives and things of that nature also. So it's a tough.
You're right. That's the financial gain part of it, and that's if you get a certain amount. We're talking about the census right now, which, by the way, Bryan, that's really cool. If a lot of things I'm saying are in that video, that's awesome. But the census right now, and we had a big meeting. Senator David Bullard had a bunch of folks who work in different city and county and state offices on last Thursday, each one of them talking about this is why you fill out the census, because we get this much money per person who is recognized. And I don't know this, so I'm completely out here right now. Okay, I can't back this up with anything. Usually, I like to put the little picture of the website. I don't have anything out there. I want to know though, is funding going to different states dealing with COVID-19 cases and deaths, and is it related to the amount listed of how many who are turned out positive or who have passed because of this? I don't know this. I'd like to find out. If that's the case, then oh my goodness, I mean, it's hard not to think these numbers could be inflated. It really is. And who's to say otherwise? Otherwise, once someone has died, I mean, you're seeing that you probably have seen the picture of the mass grave on the island in New York City that they're just digging more out, and it's really sad. Nobody's going to go check that, and you can't anyway. So I don't know. Anyway, also a couple more things here. COVID-19, it turns out can defy gravity. We've learned that today. COVID-19 actually hovers in the air, is what we're learning too. So if you're in a place where the air is still, the COVID-19 can hover there. Now, folks, I get that when you speak that, air is here. Molecules don't always wander all over around everywhere unless there's airflow. And if you were to get some kind of spitule out there, that's a technical term, spitule out there, maybe so now COVID-19 can hover in the air, and it might stay there for a while. So if you go away and come back to where somebody was, I don't know. I'm beginning to think that people are giving supernatural characteristics to this virus. I mean, I wonder if the laws in time or space are nothing to this thing, man. I'm telling you.
I'm glad you're keeping up, because I've tuned out so much of the stuff.
Well, you have to.
It's a bit of it's been really tough too, because sports is there's been no sports to turn to.
Last Dance, man. Last Dance. That's become the biggest documentary ever.
The two things I was going to bring up at the end. Are we getting close to the end, or do you have some other?
No, we got time, man.
So Last Dance, been watching. That's actually I'm going through so much of oh my goodness, the things growing up that I remember as a kid and wanting to be like Mike and all that stuff. But that has been I think just an amazing documentary. Very well done. So we have the edited for language version. Leaps, but no, it's been really good and kind of down like memory lane also. So I think that's been a lot of fun through this. And breaking news: the NFL draft shattered their previous viewership records. Surprise, surprise,
surprise!
Sports.
Oh my goodness!
It resembles that. It's from last year, and the guys are running around making 3 tackles, but we just. We don't even care. It's sports.
Here's where I am on that. I still didn't watch it. Yeah, I mean, as much as I needed something, anything, I still I don't know. It's the NFL draft. Some of the guys on there bug me a little bit too much to be able to watch for any length of time. But Last Dance, man, that's definitely good. Shout out to Susan, by the way, for watching, and splat right in the face. I'm telling you, bam. This virus is not to be trifled with. It has supernatural abilities. And Bryan, I do want to check that out once we know a little bit more about the one in Ardmore. I want to find that out. Hook me up with the source on that. As we learned, today's word is spitule. Spitule. And it will hit you right in the face. Oh, okay. Well, let's wind it down a little bit, Matthew. Let's talk about this too, because you bring up the point. I think this is space virus. It could be. It could be, as long as, I don't know, they'll make a movie. Oh, the movies that are going to be made from this. When people start caring about Hollywood again, you want to talk about people who are going through a difficult time right now, celebrities, because nobody gives any attention to them. How's that for editing? Nobody, I wouldn't have said that anyway, but nobody cares. And these celebrities, it's what this is a phrase I made up a while back. Attention deficit disorder, not that phrase, not like there's some kind of something wrong. That was out there before. But I think people get attention deficit disorder when those are the kind of people when they have a deficit of attention on them, they get disordered. So when people aren't looking at them enough, they get disordered. You know anyone like that? Don't look at the monitor next to you. But there are folks, I think a lot of Hollywood has attention deficit disorder. They get really disordered without attention. Those folks, there are folks out there that are going a little nuts right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're absolutely, there are going to be movies made about this. Okay. So you said you don't watch the news. And the reason for that is because they're pushing this fear. Everything I saw today, I'm reading through, I've gone off social media for a little while. local social media anyway.
You're missing all the conspiracy theories.
I know,
I feel like some of them are legit, but then there's some of them that are so far out there that might be legit. I'm just not sure anymore.
How am I going to jumpstart the show without these local social media conspiracy theories? Anyway, some of them are just out there. But it was getting to be a lot of oh man, you're quick on that, Bryan. I already have a Facebook message with the source. Thank you. Anyway, it's getting bad. Well, so I tried to go on and get some news reports today before I got into the sports part of my day. So I'm preparing for the show tonight early on. Everything, Matthew, everything. Fear. Well, people don't want to go back because they're work because they're scared. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. In the headline or in the first paragraph, workers scared, bosses scared, people scared. The word scared came up so many times, and it was never a situation of, in wisdom right now, I think it might be a better decision to go ahead and step back for another week. No. That was never the case. Owner says scared to open back up because of liability. Workers say scared to go back in. Other workers agree with AOC and decide not to go back to work because, AOC. And I agree with you entirely, Jamie. That is exactly what the government wants. There are folks on both sides of the aisle that want this. I don't know how long it can last. I still don't think, and we're finding out here in Oklahoma, folks are just going, forget this. I'm going back out. And I think there are a lot of other places where they're doing that too. I can't say that for sure, but yeah, I think that's what a lot of folks in the government want. But again, it's the media. It's the media that's putting it out like that, Matthew. Fear, scared, too scared to do this, too scared to do that. And why don't you just say, we've waited and we decided that this was a wise move? No. It's not about wisdom. It's about fear.
Yeah. Well, there's something too in my world called clickbait. right now, there's no sports. So, I mean, like a lot of the, attention, is off. So if the news can keep all the, people clicking on the article and reading and, whatever it is, that they can, beef this thing up with. So it's keeping all the attention on them and they're selling ads or doing their thing. So there's so much stuff that it is hard to process right now. just gotta shut it down.
And I shouldn't have mentioned AOC, Wanda, and the reason, because I don't want to give any extra attention to her. I think that anyone who's a journalist that puts a camera phone and a microphone in front of AOC and calls it anything other than unscripted reality television needs to have any kind of journalistic license taken away. That's not true journalism, listening to that person. So let's move on. COVID-19 apparently can defy gravity. I've also heard that COVID-19 also has been known to ring your doorbell and run away, has been associated with online bullying, and some of the really bad strains have been known to cheat on their taxes. So those are other things that can be attributed to COVID-19. But hey, we know that the only thing that can stop COVID-19 is disinfectant. Please note the disclaimer right now. Please don't go out and drink Lysol. I use the word disinfectant in the show. Nobody please leave the show and go out and drink Lysol or bleach just because I said disinfectant. Okay, thank you. Also, sunlight can all the heads of state that were no. And now, Jamie, I told you, I said that I think those guys in that meeting, I don't know if you heard this. I did mention this Saturday night. I did want to address this. I didn't get a chance to get back to your questions. I don't think those are the guys that are the ones that are saying about all the other stuff. Those guys in that meeting the other night, I was listening to them talk before and after. I don't think those are the guys that are really coming down hard on all of us for what we do. I think those are some good look folks. Sunlight also can stop the virus. I have also read that kryptonite has been known to stop the virus if you have in concentrated form. If you can get a concentrated spray form of kryptonite. Also, eye of newt, toe of frog, wool of bat, and tongue of dog has been known to stop this virus and quite possibly to dislodge the current president in November.
What can the holy hand grenade of Antioch do?
The holy hand grenade of Antioch is also a possible. We haven't tested that yet, We're looking into that. I'm sure Dr. Burks is looking into the holy hand grenade of antioxidants. See, I knew if I kept throwing those out there, you'd have another one for me.
So, we talked this. This is on a kind of another note, or very similar. We talked about this the other day. So, with this whole situation, shutting everything down and all that good stuff. And you mentioned sunlight, and the goal, get everybody in their house, on their couch, watching TV is, the image, portrayed, what we're supposed to be doing right now. Not out getting sunshine, which has vitamin D, not out, getting fresh air, not out getting exercise, which seems like a really good thing for your immune system. So it is really interesting. There's some pieces of this that I get, and then other pieces that just don't make sense. So I'm trying to wrap my head around. I just think
you can't do it.
We've been out walking, we've been out doing, breathing fresh air, doing our thing. So
all those things. Jamie, I'm going to go so far as to agree with you. Just saying. Just saying. And I agree with what you're just saying there, too. So you've got a comrade in that. I like that. But you know what? You're right. Vitamin D. And how can we get immune to things? I've caught more fish in the last 30 days than the last 10 months. There you go. That's the most of it. I found out that my number 4 daughter has a little arm now. I mean, she's been throwing the ball a lot more solidly now, and I'm enjoying that time with her. Okay, look, I said we were wrapping up because that's what preachers do. We don't really mean it in closing, but that means absolutely nothing. I think, look, you look at vitamin D, stay inside, but vitamin D is something that helps, get rid of these things. Let's talk even about the immunity. You mentioned that. And how do you become immune to something? Well, part of it's becoming exposed to it. You don't just naturally get immune to something. There's an exposure. And isn't that, now back me up if I'm wrong. Somebody I'm sure will tell me I'm wrong if I am. Okay. Yeah. They'll come back and watch this tonight and come back and tell me I'm wrong.
We're waiting.
I'm waiting. I'm just going to sit here and wait all night. When you get a vaccine of something is a strain of that thing. It's one of the reasons that flu vaccines don't always work. Please do not write this show saying I'm against all flu vaccines and I'm an anti-vaxxer. Don't say that. I'm telling you that not all flu vaccines work because it's the strain of the flu from the year before, and the flu has mutated and modulated and transported and relegated itself to the next year. How'd you like that? Spitule. I'm just trying to get the words out there. And so it's a little bit different. So if you get, the flu vaccine from this year and it's not the same as it was last year, it's not as effective. Those things happen. But what they do is they take a little bit of the flu and they put it in you. That's what a vaccine is. What happened? You got exposed to that in a very small dosage, by the way, and there you are. And so your body builds up that immunity to it. Folks, how in the world are we ever going to develop an immunity to this if we're all stuck inside this is 19 mutation. Yeah, there you go. We're all stuck inside. And by the way, I said I would get back to this, Brian. I'll say it before we close. The one thing I heard, video Brian shared with me, I've heard of people being quarantined that were sick. This is the first time I've ever heard of people being quarantined that were well. Now, just mull on that one for a little while, because I've had that thought too. That was one of the things that stuck out to me that this gentleman said. It's the first time I've heard of someone, we're quarantining the people that are well. So, and by the end of this year, our population is going to grow a lot.
This is true.
You give it about December and January, and we are going to have the children of the corn, no doubt. And in 2033, they're going to be the quarantines. Okay.
Yeah.
If you didn't get that joke, go right on in. Anyway, this has been around since the 70s. Hey, I've been around since the 70s. I don't know if that was.
I'm trying to be better. Sorry.
Again, yeah, that's right. Why take chemo? Yeah. We have some smart folks that watch this show, by the way. I really appreciate you all. Really appreciate you all. Well, I need to wrap up because We're in on an hour, and at some point in time, Matthew's going to have to show back up at his house. And I don't know if Lindsay, if you're still watching now, wow, that's really cool. I'm very impressed. But thank you to all the folks that watch, and some of you guys watch start to finish. Robert and Jamie, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you coming on. I love your commentary, and I think you guys are spot on, very much so. Bryan, as always, hey Amy, glad you joined tonight. And let me see if there's anybody else that's recently. Lori McCoy stopped by.
Hey.
Well, if you're still on, thanks a lot for watching tonight. Richard, always cool to get to see you. Bonus points for Lindsay. She's sticking it out, sticking around to the bitter end.
Yes.
This one tonight. So, all right. Then before we wrap up, let me go ahead one more time. Say thank you to our sponsors. Robert, you are a blessing, by the way. Thank you for being on. Abundant Life Texoma, to Blake Utter Ford, as well as the Choctaw Nation, Durant Station, Greg Phillips Insurance, Indian Nation Wholesale, People First, and Texoma Utility Equipment. Thank you guys, all of you all, for being sponsors for the Bryan County Patriot, which, and here you go, Matthew, you want to talk about numbers? This is actually a record-setting month for the Bryan County Patriot website.
Hey. Awesome.
So we've had more page views, so the advertisers, hopefully, you're seeing all these ads and sponsors on the Bryan County Patriot on the website. So thank you very much for visiting that. One more thing, Robert's digging the mug. Robert always gives me props for the mug. And the thing about it is, too, my voice has been a little off tonight. I know it seems like I'm showing this a lot more than normal, but my voice has been off today. So I really did need this. So when Foo's talking, I was taking that as an opportunity to keep my voice going. You were talking about something a little earlier, and you said you wanted to wait till the end. So tell us what was on your mind.
It was actually we already hit on it. I was going to bring up, as you've seen The Last Dance, and just how that's a trip down memory lane. I did want to say something though. You know, just to be clear, he grew up in a household where we rooted for the Sooners. I'm not sure. I mean, I know there was a stint there in Stillwater, but
okay. Yes. And look, everybody in my house knows that we're in Oklahoma. We're Oklahoma folks. We don't have to be against the Sooners or anything like that. This is not a bash OU statement at all.
So
Matthew and I did grow up in a house where we cheered for the Sooners day in and day out, year in and year out. There was no doubt about that. Yes, it happened. However, from 2010 to 2012, I did go and get a second bachelor's at OSU. And because of that, there you go. This is the alma mater. So I cheer for OU now 364 days of the year, but Bedlam, not so much. So.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay.
And we do not cheer for, well, okay. When I have Bryan, I had my ArkansasSports.net shirt on today. I actually interviewed a coach from Lyon College in Arkansas. Sorry, we went off the rails. We're closing down, so we went off. One of my interviews today was with the new head coach at the Lyon College, and he actually coached in Stigler, I believe, early on in his career. But he's coaching Arkansas. And when I was interviewing him today on MidwestSports.net, I had my ArkansasSports.net shirt on. So, yeah, well, there's the Arkansas connection. Yeah, either way.
Nice to meet you too, Jamie.
Yeah, that is cool. All right. Well, I'm glad you talked about that. That was, this is a good time for me too. The Jordan years were really pretty cool. And by the way, I was really glad that he took those 2 years off, because in 1995, my favorite NBA player of all time finally got his ring. Clyde Drexler got traded to Houston midway through the season, got to play with Akeem once again, college teammates, and Clyde Drexler, one of the top 50 players in the NBA all time, at least back, when there was the 50 years of the NBA. I think he's top 75 for sure. Got his one and only ring. And he couldn't do it when Jordan was really out there strong. So I'm glad that was there. Yeah, see, I was thinking that same thing. We both gave the horns down. I thought we're going to get penalized here. We'll have to start tomorrow night show, like 5 minutes late or something like that. There you go. Step back. All right. Well, hey, listen, Fu, thank you so much. We have we're going to hit the 1 hour mark then before I'm done wrapping this up. So thank you very much. Thanks to Lindsay and all of your family. By the way, 10 minutes. Woo, that's a personal foul. Yeah, knocking us back there. To all of your family, by the way, shout out to them. Trayson, by the way, your son, you were talking about him having that surgery this morning, just turned a year old. So happy birthday to Trayson, by the way, on the broadcast. You guys are, listen, I know he's my brother. He's not heavy. He's my brother. But yeah, he is a little heavy at times. I have to tell you something, folks. If you haven't met Matthew, you need to. He does take care of a lot of not only website needs, he still does some web design, things like that. Definitely the place to go. And I unbiasedly think so highly of this guy that I am so thankful to be able to say he is my brother. I think he is a great guy all the way around. So thanks for being on the show with me tonight and sticking it out for all this long. I think you had a lot of good things to say. If you missed the first part where Matthew was talking about all the things for small businesses, go back and watch it and check it out. He has some good ideas.
Awesome.
All right. Listen, be wise in what you do. Really, be wise. We're coming out of this thing now, and we are reopening the state. So be wise in what you do. Use discretion. And I know that the word discretion talks sometimes about being discreet, and we need to be wise with the information we have. But there's a part of discretion that says you're the person that's called upon to make the decision when the time comes. When certain decisions come, you have the authority to make that decision. Folks, you're going to have the opportunity to make decisions tomorrow and all week long that no one else is going to have that opportunity to make. You need to use the information that's available to you, make the best decision. And finally, don't do it in fear. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If the news is telling you all the time, be scared, be scared, be scared, don't watch the news. Don't let that stuff get on the inside of you. Don't be afraid. Be wise, use discretion, and do not fear. For Matthew McWilliams, I am Joey McWilliams, and I want to say thanks for watching BCP Live tonight. Tune in tomorrow. We'll try to talk to the refs and see if we can start at the normal time at 9 o'clock and go from there. God bless you guys. Have a great night.